Oh, okay, yes. Hopefully, you all did not just hear me yawn because I definitely was yawning. So welcome back. I am coming back for the promise reading that I said I was going to do on the Blankstein case, another connection to the Blankstein case. If you all haven't heard, there were some tips that were leaked in the FBI files where or it was the FBI tip leaked in the Blankstein files that has circled back around and come back out and front facing to the public, of course, with the release of all of these files. And one of them was talking about one of Jeffrey's properties in New Mexico called Zorro Ranch. And the tip or the allegation is that two bodies were buried there or hidden there on the land. From what I understand, there are some new owners of that land, but the New Mexican government is looking to investigate the area, investigate the claims, look and see if there's any evidence of the body still being there, and therefore lending more credibility to Jeffrey's files, and the victims of this heinous act, and potentially go from there to investigate other potential people who were involved, whether it's authority officials, other people in the American government, and so forth. I, for one, don't think much is going to come out of this just because there has been a lot of trying to kind of like distract from it and hide what's going on and all these other things that's going on. As I was reporting earlier, on my reading with the cartels in New Mexico, I know there has been some recent falling out with the Cuban government and potentially Americans, or American soldiers, American military trying to move in on that land. Trump's administration have decided to go to war with Iran. So there's all of these things like that that's going on. But I want to look into this because it seems like there's definitely some credibility to the Blankstein files, and all of the things that's coming out is definitely highlighting and showing that conspiracy theorists aren't just conspiracy theorists anymore. They're actually like trying to tell you the truth about something, and oftentimes people are trying to label them as crazy, because it's just, now some of the stuff is a little out there, but in this case it just seems like a lot of the stuff, again, Pizzagate, a cabal of rich people burning effigies out in the woods and potentially, going after adrenochrome and children, and underground sex trafficking ring for children and all this other stuff. It's all seeming to kind of like just come back full circle, and there seems to be truth to it. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's truth to this, but that's why I thought it would be good to do a reading on this and see if there is any truth, see if there is any bodies there, see if there will be anything coming forward out of this. Because as you see across the globe right now, you're seeing even the royal family is being held, they're facing repercussions for some of the actions, again with Prince Andrew, but we're not seeing any of that happen here in America, unfortunately. So let's see if this is going to lead anywhere, if something is going to happen. But before I do get into this reading, I do want to kind of lay a basis for us going into this. If you are new here, hi. If you have been here, you know what I'm going to say. I am an intuitive translator. I am a spiritual translator. And what that means for me, in my readings, is that sometimes I get messages and meanings and those kind of things. And I try to interpret and translate what I'm receiving, the feelings, the intuition that I'm getting, and I'm trying to relay that message to you all. However, in the course of me doing that, there is room for me to mistranslate, misinterpret something, because I am human and I am trying to relay a message. I'm trying to interpret something to you all. So that leaves rooms for me to kind of just be wrong or something, or again, mistranslate, misinterpret something. I don't do it purposely. I really do try to give the message as clear and as true is what I'm getting, but there's room for error because I'm human. The second part that I also want to issue into this is that, all statements made are alleged for entertainment purposes. I don't just say that because people are very litigious. I say that to cover myself in the instance of going back to what I said earlier, that I mistranslate or misinterpret something. Again, I don't do it out of maliciousness or trying to get attention from anybody. I simply am trying to get to the bottom of this. I think this is something of interest. I think this is something of concern for all of us to watch. And so that is why I put that there. But again, I try to differentiate when I am giving my opinion, when I am giving something that is actual fact, something that we know has come out, that has been stated, as I did it earlier in this reading, and when I am channeling or getting something from the cards. I try to make that as clear as possible. I know everybody don't pick up on sarcasm and stuff like that, but I try. And no, I will not be perfect. Hi, sis. But yes, I try my best. So if we're all in their understanding about that, we're all in one accord, I'm going to get started and pull these cards. From what I understand, I feel like this claim, they said it came out like maybe early 2000s, late 90s. So, talk about dropping the ball. But there has been several other allegations in this, and FBI tips that's apparently that come out with the files as well. But who knows? Yeah, some of them are way too far fetched. Like I don't know. I'm not on the wagon with the lizard people one, but who knows? Conspiracy theorists so far seem to be right about a lot of stuff. MK Ultra, the Blankstein files, what's another one? The Area 51 stuff, aliens being real, the government hiding it from us. Like, it's been so much stuff that's over the last few years that has come forward, and like, oh, okay, conspiracy theories aren't as crazy as we thought. They actually are telling the truth. So first of all, let's see if there's any truth. Let's see if I can get into whether or not there are any bodies on Zorro Ranch in New Mexico. I'm also interested in who the new owners are. I don't think any of that is going to come through, but I think that's crazy. I mean, I know it's land and people love land, but who would want something that Epstein originally had? And I mean, yes, it's a ranch, but I wonder, do the new owners know who they bought this land for and what they was using it for? Yeah, no, I don't think we're the only sentient life forms. I think other life forms may look different from us, but yeah. Okay, let's see. Feel like this one wants to come out. I do see the Two of Wands, but let's see. Okay, so I do see the Three of Pentacles came on blast. We have the Page of Wands. Let me put this all on the screen in the middle here so you all can see the Three of Pentacles came up blast. I do have the Page of Wands. And then I have the Seven of Wands coming up here as well. Interestingly enough, the Seven of Wands come up here because that's like, I don't know if it could be speaking to the previous situation of this just being like, hey, it's been hard for them to kind of get this information to look into this, because I believe one of the people who gave the tip to the FBI stated that he was a handler, or not a handler, because that sounded very negative. He was a ranch hand, an employee of Zorro Ranch, and he was trying to let them know. So yeah, So with this Seven of Wands coming up here for me, it feels like it has been a struggle, it has been a fight to kind of like get this out there, to get the truth told. Also with the Page of Wands, it does, to me, it feels like power struggle, mainly because of the people, the status, the people who are involved. Sometimes Page of Wands and stuff like that sometimes can speak to me of like authority as well, but in this case, I'm not sure exactly why the Page of Wands is coming up. And if you haven't seen my readings before, I say the court cards, your pages, your kings, your queens, and stuff like that, your knights. I think of them as a noun, a person, place, or a thing, an entity. It doesn't always have to deal with a person, but in case this is dealing with a person, I would not be doing my job if I didn't tell you. Oftentimes, this is, think about your fire signs, your Aries, your Leos, your Sagittarius, somebody who, they're very strong-headed, very bullheaded. They are, you know, kind of like my way or the highway, very exploratory in some sense. They always want the intention on them. All of that energy you kind of think of when you see the Page of Wands or any of the Wands court cards. Then you also have the Three of Pentacles here, and to me, they usually speak to a collaboration. So to me, I feel like somebody was paid off to kind of like hide this information, or which we have seen is true. They've been working together to just kind of like keep this under wraps. Whose palm do we need to grease in order to keep this I want to say abomination going, but this craziness going forward? Funny enough, we still have the Two of Wands coming up here for the underlying energies. So this is speaking to, especially in this particular deck, this is kind of like endurance. This is like, what do I need to do to overcome something? What's the hard thought? What's gonna provide me the energy needed to kind of like get over this hump? Then we also have the Nine of Cups. This is wishes being granted, wishes being fulfilled. And then I also have the Hierophant. Funny enough that the Hierophant is coming up here, and it's also coming up in reverse, because the Hierophant to me don't always speak to like religious backings. Most times people think of the Hierophant, they think of like the Pope or the church and things like that. Sometimes to me, the Hierophant translates to kind of like I think about societal codes or moral codes that society runs by. What's those agreements that the society runs on, and everybody kind of follows? What's those cultural norms that we have established in doing so? But this is in reverse, so it's like, to me, it's like, oh, we know the public isn't gonna like this, so what can we do to like keep this under wraps? I feel like it's starting to feel like, yes, maybe there is some truth. I don't know if the bodies are still there though. I feel like maybe they were there before, maybe not so much now. I got those cards fast. Okay, it doesn't seem like anything else wants to come out. I have Peaceful Amongst the Thorns. I have Queen of My World. And I also have Artificial Heart. So you all can see it. Peaceful Amongst Thorns. And then Artificial Heart as well. Okay, something makes me feel like there is a ounce of credibility to the tip, but I think it was more so the tip was dropped to bring the officials or authorities' attention to what Jeffrey was doing. I don't know if it's so much like, hey, there really is people being buried and stuff here, but I feel like the tip was being dropped, and it was probably dramatized a bit more. I don't know how to say that. Yeah, dramatized a bit more to kind of like get authorities involved, hoping that this would spur them into action and to look into him a bit more, and it didn't happen. Okay, I want to draw some more cards on this. So look, we have See, somebody wanted some kind of outcome and it didn't happen. They were hoping to get the attention of something. Look, Four of Wands, I think that's dealing with the ranch. Seven of Cups here, so you all can see who are watching the short. Um, and the person didn't realize. Do we know if the witness or the person who originally dropped the tip, if they're still good? Are they still good? Look, Nine of Wands as well, a burden. Um, Maybe it's trying to bring attention to, yeah, it feels like to me somebody was trying to bring attention to the home, the Four of Wands here. Like this isn't what y'all quite think it is. Somebody was trying to bring attention. I don't know if it's actually bodies per se on the grounds of Zorro Ranch, but I think somebody was trying to draw attention to what Jeffrey and or what was going or what Jeffrey was doing while he was there on Zorro Ranch. And this is my opinion, okay? I told you I try to differentiate when I'm giving my opinion or something I'm reading for the cards. But in my opinion, allegedly, I wonder. So you know how here in America, I think in some places in Canada too, um, there has been a call, a conversation being had with the amount of indigenous women that go missing every year. New Mexico is prime market for that. It's a lot of indigenous people there. New Mexico is one of the poorer states. I believe they're like in the lower 10, the top 10, top 5 of the poorest states in America for the longest time running. Um, there's not a lot of protections and stuff around that. I would not be surprised if those are a lot of things that deal with it. I wouldn't be surprised if this whole Blankstein situation has something to do with that. Because even though, people saying, oh, it's a lot of racial involvement in this, we know how, read between the lines, love an exotical, okay? They love an exotical experience. So but that's my opinion. I read between the lines. We also do have the Ace of Cups coming up here for the underlying energy, the Queen of Pentacles, and then I have the Seven of Pentacles here as well. Interesting. Seven of Pentacles working on something. Emotional investment. We have the Queen of Pentacles coming up here, and it's coming up in the upright. Hmm? I'm not sure why the Queen of Pentacles will come up here. Let's see. Treat those women, treat those girls, treat these children. Yeah. It's horrible all the way around. Let's see. Oh, I had a card that flew back. Hold on. See, that's coming through loud and clear for me. Somebody was trying to bring attention. Again, I don't know exactly when this tip was dropped or given to the FBI, but to me, it feels like, look, calling the storm. Somebody was trying to bring attention way back when to what Jeffrey was doing on that ranch. I think it also probably came after some stuff in regards to kind of like, because we have the revenge card here as well. I wouldn't be surprised if this came after some like toxic employment situation that was going on there, or them just wanting to get back at him because maybe they shortchanged him on something because they was quiet up to a certain point. But something makes me feel like they was trying to call attention to what Jeffrey was doing at that ranch. It was something transpired there. Now, if it was bodies, I don't know. I don't know if they're actually going to find bodies there, but something makes me feel like somebody was trying to draw attention to the stuff that was going on at the time when Jeffrey owned that, piece of land, that ranch. Because I'm not getting a clear bead on. Maybe let's look into. Maybe I should try this another way instead of saying if there's bodies still there, because maybe I should look and see. I don't think it's Michael. I don't think it's MJ. Because the person who gave the tip was somebody who was an employer, or no, sorry, an employee of the ranch at the time. Jeffrey was, owned that land. I don't think it's MJ. Um, let's see, some kind of crime take place. See, yeah, ooh, I don't know why I keep getting this queen. Some queen keep wanting to come up in here. It could be Miss Maxwell herself, but I don't know. Or it could just be talking to the woman because of the Queen of Cups coming up here. Who knows? But I do also get the Five of Swords coming up here as well. Usually when I see the Five of Swords, I think of almost like infighting. And look what comes up again, the Hierophant, but this time it's coming up in reverse. I mean, in the upright. See, look, that Seven of Cups is coming up again. Oh, Jesus. But this time, again, it's coming up in the upright. The Hierophant, the Seven of Cups is coming up in the upright. Three of Swords, not wanting to move on. Then I also have the Empress. Yeah, I'm not surprised the Empress is coming up in reverse. Usually when I see the Empress come up in reverse like this, that means that there is some kind of, I always think of like abuse of women, which we know what was going on in this situation. There's some kind of suppression of the femininity, which we know what was going on in this situation. If you even read 2 pages of the Blankstein files, you know that was what was going on. Like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out, and that's pretty much what I'm getting here with that. So I'm going to say, go off, based off of these cards, something did take place here. Now, if it was some kind of, if somebody was, let me not say that, deleted there and disposed of, I'm not picking up on that, but I'm getting that something did take place there. And I'm getting that the person who dropped the tip to the FBI was trying to get them to act, to look into what was going on there, because they believed it was something more. Maybe they didn't have all of the evidence or all of the, maybe they didn't have all of the evidence, but they had a strong suspicion, and good on them. Ten of Swords also coming up here in the upright. That's like, you see he's like thawing out. It's like, we need something to shake up. We need something to come out of this. We need more information. The Queen of Pentacles is trying to come up again too. These are the 2 cards that's coming up again. So the Seven of Cups, and they're coming out like they did last time. The Seven of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles. Sorry, Seven of Pentacles. I was like, wait, Seven of Cups, girl. Um, Seven of Cups is working at something, trying to achieve a goal, some end goal. And with this coming up in the upright, it makes me feel like that is happening. The Queen of Pentacles, think of your earth signs, your Virgos, your Tauruses, your Capricorns, but it's coming up in the upright. So usually, to me, it's kind of like motherhood, maiden energy to me. So I wonder if it's somebody with some motherly ties involved in this. Maybe they were trying to get a message across to some, or again, it could be women. Also with the Pentacles, maybe it could be the government. Sometimes when I usually get Pentacles and Swords, to me it speaks of a larger entity, like the government per se, or a government entity of some sort. So that is interesting. What else fell out here? The Three of Cups, Three of Swords, Two of Swords, the Empress. Okay. Oop. Let me see if I get more clarity before I roll over these cards. Okay, let's see. Not surprised this came up. Naked Before the Stars, Sorry, triggering anybody. We also have forgetting oneself. Notice this guy is wearing a mask. To me, this speaks of like ritual. I know that's probably going to trigger somebody. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to read the cards. And then we also have triumph of lies. Somebody was trying to expose him for, like, y'all know him as a financier, or y'all think he's this all fun and games, he's cool. This man is not what he think he is. And that's very much, we understand now, that's very much true. Also, look what's coming up again for the underlying energies, hiding your true self. Once again, I'm not surprised. He very much was hiding his true self and what he was up to. The child I was meant to be, it was children. It was children involved. It was children. Again, we're not surprised by that. Fated to suffer is also coming up for the underlying energy. It's something to do with the kid. Is it a mother and a child? Because I was saying something about a motherly energy. Or was it reports around that time? Okay. My conspiracy. I'm trying to differentiate here. Allegedly. Was it reports maybe around that time from a mom who said she was missing her child? And lo and behold, this child was there at the ranch. I won't say fine, but I would say alive. I would say probably within reach of this mother, but because authorities decided not to investigate or do anything about it, unfortunately, this person life is ruined, whether that was by deletion or just mentally effed up now because of what they've gone through there at the ranch. That's what I'm wondering is coming up here, because I'm keep getting something about a mother and a kid. So I wonder if it's something dealing with, like, maybe is it a mother and a child that probably stumbled upon this? Is it the person's wife and child? Was this a little girl or something that went missing around this time that nobody really paid attention to? They probably just wrote it off as her being like a runaway, or the mom being negligent, or whatever the case may be. Because if you also are not aware, it's very evident that Jeffrey went after women and children who, no, let me not say women, young girls and children, because I feel like when we say women, I think people misinterpret it as like they were asking for it. We're talking about young girls and children, okay, that was vulnerable, trying to make a way for themselves, probably was independent, probably had to grow up faster than they needed to be because of bad parents or whatever the case may be. They preyed on the vulnerable. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's something like that going on here. Was it maybe a pregnant woman or something? I'm not sure. I'm not understanding what it is I'm picking up on yet. I haven't tapped into it fully. But then we also have angers and change. Oh, look at this, addiction. Yeah, let me see. Is it, you know what? I can leave those here. I can leave those. Let's see if I'm going to pick up on whether or not maybe I can figure out or hone in a little bit on who it is. Not with 100% accuracy. I just want that to be clear. See, look at this. This Nine of Cups just keep trying to fall out. Oh, look. Ooh. I'm going to have to cover this a little bit because, YouTube don't do well with free the boobies, but we do have the World card coming up in reverse. This is a cycle that has not been completed. Again, I would not be surprised, because if at minimum something occurred, I feel like something occurred here on Zorro Ranch and it has not been solved. So yes, it is an incomplete cycle. Something has not been discovered. There has not been enough research on this. So yeah. Let's see. You're going to get my I voted sticker, okay? I also have the Four of Wands, and this time it's coming up in reverse. This is like, you do not see. Okay. For me, with this Four of Wands, what flashed in my mind, you ever heard about I know they did something on American Horror Story about it, but there's a famous place in New Orleans where a lady owned all of these slaves, and she was torturing them and brutalizing them. And it's in this like big house, this famous house in the French Quarter. I believe they also have tours of this house as well. It's well known that she was torturing and brutalizing her slaves and things like that. And she did it for years. And I think it didn't finally come out until she died or one of the slaves escaped. That's the flash of what I got of with this Four of Wands when it fell out. So take that as you will. And then I also have the Knight of Wands here as well. And it is coming up in the upright. Ugh, this is nasty, just nasty. What is the underlying energies here? Yeah, I'm gonna say I feel like somebody was taken, removed. I don't know if the bodies is still there, but I would say in the instance of this person, I don't know. Again, somebody who's a bigger sleuth than I, some investigator or detective can look closer into this, but I feel like it was something like at the time, maybe they kind of know or have an inkling of who the victims are if they look who was missing around that time, who was rumored or told to have disappeared in a car or something like that, or they left from home. Maybe this was a child that, or a teenager that young girl, whatever the case may be, that was, rumored to have a reputation of just running away from home or whatever here. Um, King of Swords. King of Swords. And it's coming up in the reverse. That is manipulation. That is somebody who is very thoughtful. That is Jeffrey. And then I'm also, ooh, maybe they are. Maybe they are. Look at the imagery on the card, the Two of Swords here. Can I zoom? Look how it's a burial mound there. Oh, and on top of that, I think it's two people. So somebody that's underground here, and then you have, I don't know if you can see that, it's the soldier there, and then you have this one. Allegedly, was the person who reported this, did they have to get rid of somebody that they worked with, and that's why they were trying to report it? Because remember, I was alluding to the something earlier about like maybe they were trying to report and shed the light on Jeffrey because of it could have been, workplace harassment or a toxic work environment or whatever the case may be. A toxic work environment would have been like, or could have been something along the lines of, oh, my coworker found out about something. I didn't believe them at the time. Now all of a sudden I'm hiding them. I'm hiding their body, any evidence that they were here, kind of thing. Maybe they were, I don't know, a foreigner or something. So who's really gonna believe them? Nobody was really looking for them. So I wonder if it branches off into two things here. You get what I'm saying? I hope I'm making sense because I'm just trying to provide the message. Um, Maybe the two bodies here is somebody who was also a worker at the ranch, and somebody who had the misfortune to run across Jeffrey and piqued his interest, and now they're no longer with us, or whatever the case may be. Um, Look, we do have the Ace of Swords coming up here as well. That's a harsh start. The Magician, they was controlling the narrative. That's communication, or in this case, a lack of communication. What is it with these cups that keeps coming up in here? Because didn't I have the Prince of Cups or something last time? Okay, let's pull one more time and then I'm gonna get out of this because I'm done. See, that Peaceful Amongst the Thorns is coming up in the upright this time. Okay. Sorry, y'all hearing my phone. Hold on. It must be something important. I'm getting all these text messages. Sorry, I had to look at this. Hold on, hold on. Oh yeah, okay. I gotta look at this later. Okay, not right now. Um, that child I was meant to be is coming up again. I don't think any of us should be surprised if it was a child, a young girl involved. Makes sense to me. Tracks. And then what's this other card I have here? Oh. Why is addiction coming up in reverse this time? A dark addiction, a messed up addiction, something you shouldn't have been doing, something that wasn't meant to happen. Okay, here's something else that's coming through. I don't know where this is coming from or if this it really has anything to do with this. Was maybe a child used to lure somebody else there to get at somebody? Was they used as like, allegedly, because I don't know how true this is. Was a child used to lure somebody to their end? And then they decided to get rid of the child too? Or maybe they used the child to do something else. I don't know what this is. Oh, because look, I literally think of Snow White, and I fucking hate that movie, but I'm getting Snow White, lured with the apple. You were lured out, almost. It's okay. And especially with this chariot, it reads too much like, hey, little kid, I got candy in my car. Come to my car. Like, let me lure you out of your comfort zone. Is reading too much like that. And it's like, again, it's like it's too on the nose where to me it's making me doubt myself. Like that couldn't be what this is alluding to. But then again, real life is truer than fiction. It's better than fiction sometimes. They got the stories from somewhere. Okay, and so then we also get the temple of my body. Somebody was violated. Again, shouldn't be surprised. And then I won't cry for you. And when I get the I won't cry for you, especially when it comes up in reverse, is somebody not feeling remorseful or sad about their actions or what they did. So I am, but I'm getting like somebody was lured, um, tricked into being there. And I wonder if it's a mother and a child. I don't know what the mother and the child in this situation have to do with. I don't know if the child lured the mother in there. Maybe the mother was a young teen woman or something like that. I'm not sure. I'm going to be honest. I'm not clear on what that is. And then look, also alone in the world. So I think this is definitely dealing with somebody who, like with most of their victims, they found them not as a perfect or credible witness. Here in America, I feel like most places abroad, we have a problem with if you don't fit who we think you should look like as a victim or as a uh, or a criminal. You see it oftentimes, we've seen it time and time again. A criminal could be hot, or they do a nice mug shot, or they're very charismatic, and people just go along with it and do what they say and paying for them and putting money on their commissary and all this other stuff, versus the victims who are like, well, we can't believe you because you got raggedy teeth and you're a certain color and you come from this side of town and they're known for doing this. Like, we're so quick to discredit and not believe victims. And I think that's on purpose. Me personally, and it ain't no alleged for entertainment purposes on that. We do that on purpose. It's a reason for that. We are so ready to protect the perpetrators instead of the victims. Period. I don't care. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's something along the lines with that coming up here, because yeah, I would say the fragments that I'm picking up on, yes, something heinous take place. took place there at Zorro Ranch. Yes, somebody was trying to bring attention to what was going on. It sucks that authority didn't act quickly on this and didn't do enough at the time, take the tips seriously at the time, because I feel like a lot of stuff is just going to be very hard to like dig up. I do think this is something dealing with like a runaway, or maybe somebody who may be indigenous or something like this. So it's hard to kind of like get any paperwork or connection or corroboration with authorities and stuff like that. I would not be surprised if that's something that's coming up. I do feel like somebody was lured in on this. I know that is something that has been kind of stated throughout this whole Blankstein case of like they would take the girls and then they would take those girls or the children and have them bring other people in to replace them, and the cycle continued. It was a malicious MLM. So yeah, I feel like there's something that's coming up here. Now, if the bodies are still there, I'm not picking up on that. I'm not seeing that. But hopefully let's pull on that too before I wrap this up. I do hope this investigation leads to something, some actual repercussions. Let's see what's going to be results of this investigation. That probably should have been the more important one that I pulled on before I close out. Oh, sugar. I don't know if y'all heard how many cards just hit this floor. Is it 4 cards? 5. Okay. Maybe 6 cards. But I feel like I should take them all. Is that all of them? Okay, I'm gonna try to put these. I don't know which order they fell because they exploded and hit the floor. So I have the 2 of Pentacles in the upright. To me, this is follow the money. I'm not surprised again by that. Then we also have the Page of Swords. I think there is still evidence, but you have to know how to look at it. Almost like reading between the lines type of thing here with the Page of Swords. I have the 4 of Pentacles. This is also coming up in reverse. So it's funny I'm getting the 4 of Pentacles with this too, because if you didn't see my reading on Andrew as well, I was getting something about the 4 of Pentacles coming up with him a lot as well. And I know that could have just been, people are trying to pull back their resources and stuff from him. They're trying to cut him off. The money ain't money in like it used to with him and stuff like that before. He's lost a lot of power. He's lost his title, his status, etc. But I wonder if that's also the case here. Maybe that's why somebody is trying so hard to keep a lot of stuff wrapped up, because they know more than likely it's going to affect their resources, whether that's their time, their money, their business, their relationships, their partnerships, their power, their status, etc. But we are getting the 4 of Pentacles coming up here. That is also kind of like my miser card, my penny pincher card. That 7 of Wands is coming up again. Oh, they're gonna hit a snag. 6 of Pentacles is also something in this investigation is gonna hit a snag. You also have the Fool, the Knight of Swords, and then that 3 of Pentacles is coming up again. They're going to hit a snag in this investigation. But I feel like once they... Okay, so here's where I think the snag is going to be, and I think this is the problem for a lot of us. I think a lot of people are not going to be believed, or certain tips or evidence is just going to be like, okay, this aligns too well. This sounds too much like fiction. This sounds fake. Like even I sound crazy saying it, kind of thing. And so I wonder if there's going to be a struggle here where it's just going to, a lot of this is just going to sound like suspended belief. It's going to sound really unbelievable, because it's like, it sounds like it belongs in a movie. It sounds fake. It doesn't sound believable. I don't even believe it. And so it feels like the snag is going to come up because of the fallacy of humans, human error. It's just going to come up with something like, yeah, I wouldn't pet it past any of the crazy people either. Um, it just, to me, it feels like a lot of this stuff is going to be put on the back burner or not properly followed up on, or the proper questions aren't going to be asked. It's not going to be taken serious because of the victims. And I'm not trying to say this to victim blame, but I mainly blame our culture. I blame us as a people, society. It just kind of feels like the victims don't line up. They're not who we want to be, because we're so, especially when it comes to politics, when it comes to courtrooms and stuff like that, especially in this day and age, everything is theater. Like, it doesn't sound entertaining. It seems like there's a lot of like spinning of the story and stuff like here, this going on. And to me, it just seems like it's the snag is going to be because it's going to be a lot of like the cultural the zeitgeist, the what do we really believe, what is, it's a struggle with public opinion, essentially, that's going to come up here. It's like, yeah, we understand that the files was a thing, we understand some of the scandalous aspects of it, but we don't believe this victim, like this don't line up, or there's not a lot of truth to this, or people are going to argue about the validity of the witnesses or the victims. People are not going to want to believe the stories. Like, this sound like lazy investigation. It's like, no, we actually did do an investigation after we got over our own beliefs about this, or how we thought this stuff should be, and this is what it is. I know it sounds weird, but this is what it is. And people are just going to find it like a tough pill to swallow, that is, it's that simple. We've been trained and marketed and desensitized to it, essentially. Like, oh, this sounds like Lovely Bones. Like, this sounds like the script for Lovely Bones. Like, did they really even investigate? And it's like, yes, we did. This is really what happened. So that's more so what it feels like to me. I feel like the snag is going to come up here. I do think there's some truth, and I think there's investigation needed on Zorro Ranch. I think people were trying to bring attention to it several times, not just in Florida, not just in the Caribbean, not just in New York, not just here in New Mexico, not just in indigenous lands and stuff like that, but people have been ignored for so long. And I think that's the biggest struggle with the Epstein files. Ooh, I said it. Oh well. That's going to be the biggest struggle, and has been the biggest struggle with this whole revelation of these files being dropped, is that it's forcing people not to just look at the elite in a different light, or it's solidifying how people feel about the elite and why we don't like them, but it's also solidifying a lot of things about ugly truths about ourselves as individuals, as a country, as as a demographic, where we don't like to look too closely at things, and if stuff isn't packaged in enough way, or if it's not coming from the right person, it's a lot of these confirmation biases and things like that that get in the way of us getting these messages. We've been trained on certain things, and I think a lot of people don't want to believe that about themselves. They don't want to look deeper than that, and that's where the problem is going to come in at. I think it is going to be some more revelations coming out of this, unfortunately, but again, to me, it feels like it's simpler than we think. It's been in front of us all this time. We've heard the stories as old as time. It's been told to us over and over again. But again, we are desensitized to it. We are conditioned to think it's normal, and we don't want to look any further, because that's a reflection, and that's a statement upon ourselves and how we look at stuff. So, and to admit that we have been conned by our government, we fell into the trap of falling into the propaganda and stuff too. And I'm saying we because I'm not exempt from it either. We're all a part of it. And I feel like the quicker people get their heads wrapped around that, the better off we will be. But yes, let me know what you all think down in the comment section below. I know this reading is like all over the place, but you know, I get what I get and I try to give it to you. So there's that. If you like this reading, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you would like to see more readings like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, selecting it to all. I want to thank you all for coming in and watching this reading. Even if you're coming back in and you're watching it on the replay, make sure to drop your theories, your tidbits or things like that that resonate with you throughout this reading, and we could talk about it in the comment section. With all of that, I'm wishing you all a great day, night, or evening, wherever you are, and I will see you in the next video.